Harry just had a big night at Georgian Downs Arctic Forest, a winner in 156. It wasn't so much that he won, but the way he won. Slow first quarter into the win, 29-4. Finished it up. I was collared at the head of lane, but there's no quit in Arctic Forest. He's a good horse. Obviously still needs some work. He's floating up into a position where you could say, yeah, he could be a stake horse down the road. I know Kenny, Ken is one of my partners on Arctic Forest and loves this horse. We both love Arctic Forest. Obviously, when I look at what we have to do in New York, I look at Blake's colt, Groovy Joe. I know there's other colts out there that can really fly, but Groovy Joe's a nice colt too. He was second in the final last year, just a really talented colt. How do we stack up against him? We really don't yet. So that means we're an overnight Excelsior type horse. Do we send him to Tioga, race in the Excelsior A, which is less than what we're going to race at Mohawk for next week probably, and then continue on in New York with him? That's a possibility. We could do that. I'd really like to see him get a Mohawk start. You know, qualified in 55, was a winner tonight in 56. I believe on a night like last night at Mohawk, he's going to pace 52. Where does that get him? That's I want to always try and figure out, what does this get us? Is he just a nice horse that we need to manage properly, or is he a stake horse? I don't think he's to the stake horse status yet, like Sire's stake horse. The Excelsior, like the grassroots, I really have little interest to do that, because it's, you know, you're paying to race in the non-winners of 2. That's what you're kind of doing. You know, Arctic Forest has got 12 grand made now. He can make 30,000 at Mohawk and be in with horses that he should be able to tangle with. Does that mean we take him to New York, or do we keep him here in Canada? I don't know. That's a conversation that I'm going to have with maybe a trainer in New York. You know, maybe my brother Mark, who drives some of those New York horses. And again, with Kenny and other clients and partners of ours, what would you like to see? My stance on this colt is very simple. I want him in where he can win. He was a winner tonight, won by a nose, but he was a winner. He's not as great on the front end. I know he won his maiden on the front end, but in very similar fashion. Just won. I want him in where he can do some damage and build some confidence. And if that's New York, then fine. I'll be the first one to put him on the truck. But if it's not, I hope that everybody is in agreement that we want what's best for Arctic Forest every single week. Beach Boutique is in tomorrow night. This filly, I think you're going to see a huge transformation in her, but it's going to take 2 or 3 starts. She's put on a lot of weight, a lot of muscle, and Harry has done a fantastic job with this colt, this filly. I can't wait to see, I don't know about tomorrow night, who knows? But I can't wait to see her in the future. She's really, really looks like a filly that could do some damage this summer. But there's a lot of options for her, right? If I'm wrong, we still have tons of options here and other places. Beach Boutique is going to be a very useful horse in 2020. Beach Bum BB, I trained her in 58 at Mohawk. We're going to send her off to Indiana next week. I think she'll be going out to Brandon Bates. They start racing on June the 16th. It was a decent mile. I was rather happy with her. I really think she could always do better. Brandon gets along real well with her, so she can go and be with the Indiana Breds in Indiana. Cabernet, I think she can win the pool next week, maybe. I'm going to follow up with the instructions for her and see if we can't get her in the pool. Capistrano is in to go here with the 9-hole on Tuesday. Just an easy race with her. We're not going to be gunning out of there. I think Scott Young's going to drive her. I'm going to have to tell him, just go easy. You know, I know that's not usually how I drive, but we got a long summer with Capistrano from the 9-hole, in with fillies that can rock and are ready to go also. Just like to see a good mile from our girl on Tuesday evening. Excellent Nation is now with Jason. He's leaving tomorrow morning for Ohio, and he's entered in to go Wednesday in Ohio. Happy to see this guy heading across the border. Giddy Up Max. You know what? 2 things. All right, here's 2 sides of the coin. First side is I thought Giddy Up Max was a little flat tonight. A little so-so. A little rolly in the straightaways. Dropped his knee boot down on his foot, so what that means is he had touched his knee at some point. He doesn't pound his knees, but he struck his knee at some point, and the knee boot actually came down. Did that precipitate the roughness? Did the roughness precipitate the knee boot coming down? I don't know, but I expected more from him tonight. Having said that, he paced 56 and a bit. Arctic Forest paced 56-1 and headed to the winner's circle. So it's a little unfair to throw rocks at a colt that was chasing a 54-mile when we ended up going to the winner's circle with the one that went in 56 the race before. Let's cut him some slack. Giddy Up Max raced okay. Harness AM raced good last night. I think she's going to have a breakout mile next week. I'd like to see her trot on a nice night here at Georgian Downs, 57, 58, before we head her down to Pennsylvania. Jesse Balboa. Jesse's now up with me. I'm working with Jesse Balboa now. He was good this week. He's not going to race for a little while. Jesse's good. Trained him in 230. I was happy with the way he looked. But mature-wise, both physically and mentally, he's a little bit behind these colts, so he's going to have to take some work. Just for me and you, trained grade 59 at Mohawk. She's going to race at Mohawk next week. Muscle Chrome just beat at Hanover. Probably see her back at Hanover next week. Rito Sunshine, you'll see him Saturday. You'll see him qualify Saturday at Mohawk. Sunshine's Finest. Now, we scratched Sunshine's Finest last night. Before everybody gets too concerned, says, what happened, what happened, what happened? We're being protective of a horse we need to protect. You know, there's a horse that made it back from an accident he almost was euthanized in. You know, an accident that I got hurt pretty good in. And he made it back, made it to the races, won races, did well. And, well, won a race, I think. Did well. And was a little off left hind the other day. Now, his bad leg is his right hind. He's never really shown lameness, and he didn't on Saturday, but he was a little tender on his left hind. If he's tender on his left hind, there's only one place he can take that pressure that he has to take. You know, he has to shift his weight to protect his own left hind a little bit. The only way he can do that is to put that pressure squarely on the right hind. We don't need any extra pressure on the right hind. That leg was already broke once. And very lucky to have him back. 1 week isn't going to kill anybody, and I took care of the horse that we needed to take care of. Harry called me over. We talked about it for 5 minutes, and I said, Harry, you train the horse. If you don't think he's ready to race, he's not racing. So we scratched him. We'll have him up to the vet and get him patched up. I'm certain there's nothing serious going on, and we'll shut him down. For this week, he'll be ready to go. So we scratched him Saturday. He can't race next Saturday. If there happens to be a class next Sunday, fine. If not, it'll be back to Mohawk the week after that. Surreal Love will qualify on Saturday. Really excited to see this guy. You won't see him look too flashy Saturday. Next Saturday, we'll cut him loose. I'm really excited to see what he's going to look like. Trafalgar's in here on Tuesday. Same thing. Don't want to kill her. No crazy miles on Tuesday. Just get her around, get some money. If you win, great. If you don't, just don't put her in a bad spot. Moy Tiger is training back now. I trained him on Friday. He'll go back with him on Wednesday of this week and continue on. We'll have him ready for the first part of July. So that's Harry's barn. We got Jason's barn coming up. There's going to be quite a change in Jason's barn. It's coming up in just a minute. But for now, that's it for Harry.